Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to this edition of Wise Women Weekly, presented by Enlightened Networking. I am one of your hosts, Monty Patterson, and with our co-host, Robin Blank Mascari, and we are so thrilled to be back with you all again. And here, for those of you who are brand new to Wise Women Weekly, this is where we share principles and thought leaders as they share business principles from the softer side, and we also share life principles too. And so this is really, really exciting for me. We've been anticipating our guest today, which Robin will introduce for quite some time. We are huge, huge, huge fans of Sharon Lechter, and we are hoping that all of you are getting out a pencil and paper and getting ready to take some copious notes, because you're going to get some gems today from all of us. And so, as you all know who have been faithful watchers of Wise Women Weekly, I get really excited when I hear something good, and I'm just absolutely incredibly filled with anticipation about what we're going to learn today. We, in our household, in our family, in our circle of friends, we share her books, we give her books as gifts, we have book clubs around her books, and so you can imagine how exciting this is for me today, and I know that so many of you who are watching and listening are just as excited. So welcome, welcome, welcome to today's episode of Wise Women Weekly. Robin?
Well, thank you, Mani. As always, you do such a beautiful job welcoming everyone, and we are thrilled that you've taken the time to do the work for yourself, to really enhance your own personal development. And I don't know anyone better that has just made a huge contribution in my life. So I want to introduce Sharon Lechter today. Sharon, many people know her for her infamous work with her multiple million best-selling books through the Rich Dad, Poor Dad series, but she's been working with the Napoleon Hill Foundation for several other best-selling books. She's an international speaker. She's a mentor to millions, and that word is a really important word for this woman and for all of us. And I'm actually getting chills down to my toes right now because I'm really touched to share Sharon with you. She's founder and CEO of Pay Your Family First. She serves on many national boards. She's been working with the Napoleon Hill Foundation and has worked with them to bring several books to the public, and one of them I had the privilege of interviewing Sharon several years ago on a book that was kind of kept quiet. It was the sequel to Think and Grow Rich, and it was kept quiet for, I think, 73 years. And the foundation asked Sharon to edit it and bring it forth, and I had the privilege of that book. Just, I couldn't stop reading it. I just, you know, it changed my life, and I've, like Mani said, have bought many, many of the books and shared them. So it is my privilege to welcome Sharon Lechter today. Welcome, Sharon.
Well, thank you so much, Robin and Mani. I'm so happy to be with you today, and I'm delighted with the opportunity.
We'll love it. So let's get started, because the book we're going to talk about today is called Think and Grow Rich for Women. And the subtitle is Using Your Power to Create Success and Significance. So before we jump in, Sharon, could you talk about what you mean by success and significance?
Well, absolutely. I think for years I resisted doing anything specifically for women because I really thought the steps to success were the same for men and women, and I still believe that. But as I entered close to the twilight of my career, I realized that we really approach those steps very differently. Think and Grow Rich, which was released in 1937 by Napoleon Hill, is still as valid today as it was in 1937, and I highly recommend any of you who haven't read it to get Think and Grow Rich, the original one. But it was all at a time when all the bastions of business were men, and so Think and Grow Rich was from a very male-centric point of view. And the world of business has changed, and women's participation in business has changed dramatically over the last few years. And so I was really honored and excited when the Napoleon Hill Foundation said, you know, we've never authorized a book for women, and the only person we want to have do it is you, Sharon. So what a huge honor it was, and an awesome responsibility. So my goal in writing Think and Grow Rich for Women was to honor the original book and then add a woman's perspective and a little bit more modern perspective to the book. And it was just a huge thrill. I highlighted over 300 women in the book. And part of it was that subtitle is Using Your Power to Create Success and Significance. So one of the big issues that I think is different is men and women tend to define success differently. Men typically define success by what's in their bank account. Women tend to think of success as, am I feeling good about myself and my contribution to the world? I say my definition of success is how I feel about myself when I look in the mirror. It has nothing to do with my bank account. And I think today women in particular don't necessarily look at success, but they do look about their impact. Is there significance? Have they made an impact on other people's lives? And that's really where using your power to create success and significance originated for the subtitle of the book.
Love it. Love it. And that distinction is really, really wonderful to hear coming from you, because it is a different time. And, in looking at the book, it says, women are the future of American business. And so the fact that the foundation sanctioned a book for women for the first time and asked you to do it is really wonderful. Moni, you want to make some comments about that?
I'm ready to just keep jumping right into the questions because, I love what you just said, and I think it's really important, and I'm really curious to begin hearing about that journey, and interviewing over 300 women, and, like I said, your work has impacted so many people, around the world, and I'm really excited about that. So, you already really kind of answered, what's unique and different about this book from, the original Think and Grow Rich. My question is, why is this such an important time in history, Sharon, for women to understand the principles that you highlight in Think and Grow Rich for Women?
Well, thank you, Moni, because I think one of the issues that I think is so important is to understand what's happening in the world of business today for women. The change of women's role in business has been significant. But really, if we think about business itself, it has changed dramatically. We moved from the industrial age, which was very competitive, dog-eat-dog, win-lose environment, to today where business is really more collaborative and cooperative. Competitors who would never have done business together 10 years ago are actually working together today. And that collaborative, cooperative environment is perfect for women because we are natural collaborators. Men might call it something else, but we're natural collaborators. And so we really excel in that collaborative, cooperative environment. And then one of the things that really encouraged me to write the book was really a frustration that women are still seen as complainers and they criticize each other, and way too much of that is still happening. And so I really wanted to change the dialogue. One of the two major reasons I wrote this book was to change the dialogue from one of criticizing and complaining about women and where we are in business to one of celebration. Let's celebrate the progress that has been made. Let's celebrate the women that are out there making changes so that we can open the pathway, because with celebration, we will actually see more progress made more quickly instead of complaining and criticizing. It comes back to that law of attraction, that what you think about comes about. And if we're constantly complaining about the wage gap or not enough women, that's a negative vibe that we're sending out in the community. So for instance, one of the issues we talk about in America is the wage gap of women only make 77 cents to every dollar that men make. Does that need to change? Of course it does. But let's look at younger women today are at 93 cents to the dollar. And so let's applaud the change that has been made and the fact that we're moving in the right direction. We talk about that there's only 24 women CEOs in the Fortune 500 companies. Does that need to change? Of course. But there were only 2 in the year 2000. So let's celebrate that we've gone from 2 to 24. And by acknowledging the progress that women have made, we will see more progress more quickly. And then in the boardroom, we definitely need more women in the boardroom. In America, only 16.9% of board of directors are women. Do we need more? Yes. But do you think those boardrooms that are full of old white guys will respond to complaining women about them needing women? Or do you think they'd respond better to the Catalyst.org report that's come out that says boards that have men and women at the table outperform male-only boards by anywhere from 33 to 66%. Let's celebrate the progress that women have made and the fact that we do create more positive energy.
Wow. Robin, add. I know you've got. I can see you You're like, oh my gosh, you know. That's awesome.
I do. And in the very beginning of the book, Sharon, you do a beautiful job. It's actually magnificent. There's tremendous research and statistics and data that prove exactly what you were talking about. There is so much to celebrate. And women collaborating, and that's our nature, is to do that. And so now we get to celebrate and collaborate and make a huge difference on the economies of the world. And the collaboration comes through something that I know is one of Napoleon Hill's principles that you've taken to a whole nother level, called the mastermind. And I'd love it, Sharon, if you could talk about what is the mastermind, why is it important, and you reference so often throughout the book the Sisterhood mastermind, and so I know I'm giving you a whole bunch of questions all at once, but I know you can handle it because it's all on the same topic. So would you kind of do a run on the power of the mastermind, why it's important, how do we do it, and the Sisterhood mastermind?
Well, absolutely, and thank you for the question. For those of you viewers who have not really gotten to know Napoleon Hill, just a brief intro. Napoleon Hill was really the synthesis of success. He went out and interviewed the most successful people in the world. That's why Think and Grow Rich, the original book, is so powerful, because it's not one man's philosophy. It was like his life's work. Over 20 years he studied success, and that's the power of it. And he created the term mastermind. He also created the term pay yourself first. He wrote President Roosevelt's line, "There's nothing to fear but fear itself." So he was very instrumental in many concepts that you are familiar with, even though you may not be familiar with Napoleon Hill. But that concept of the mastermind is one where two minds get together, two or more minds get together, you get exponential results. And as I often use the term, 1 + 1 is not 2, it's 11. Because when you get together, you're bringing the depth of experience and knowledge of everybody to the table. So for instance, I'm on the national board for Women Presidents Organization, and I have a group of women presidents. We get together each month, and we're peers. We each are the top women in our companies. But if somebody's having trouble that month on something, everybody stops, and we basically pay attention to what her issues are. And more than likely, 2 or 3 of us have faced that same problem. And we can show her share what worked for us, and sometimes, more importantly, share what didn't work, so we can save a lot of frustration and effort on her part. And so what I've done, even since I released Think and Grow Rich for Women, I actually took the concept of mastermind and kind of divided it into further distinctions. So for instance, what I just shared with you is what I call your peer mastermind, where people come together to share experiences to help each other move forward together. Then I talk about the mastermind that is your advisory mastermind. So you have a business, you have a mastermind of your financial advisors, your mentors, your legal advisors, your marketing advisors, and the team is there to help create your strategic plan and help you move forward together so that you're working on your business. So that's your advisory mastermind. And then I talk about your team mastermind, which is within your business, your front end. If you've got employees out in the field, a mastermind within your business, so you're working in your business so that you make sure as a leader you know everything that's happening within your business. So I call that the mastermind in your business. And then the fourth one, which is also as important, is your personal mastermind. It may be related to your spiritual self, your physical self, your healthy self. But a group of people coming together, invested in each other's success at every level, spiritual, physical, financial, business, to help you stay on the right path. And equally, you're supporting them as well. So when I talk about mastermind, I kind of talk about those individual masterminds because they're all important to us.
Wow. Now, how often do these masterminds ideally get together? Because it sounds like one of the most valuable things we could possibly do to stay on track and continue moving forward. And then there's, you referenced the Sisterhood mastermind. So could you kind of comment on both of those?
Well, I think a lot of it, some of them are as needed. Others are my peer mastermind. We get together monthly and face to face so that we can really check in with each other and support each other. But if somebody is having a really bad issue, we will schedule what we call, a shark team that goes in to help them get through a particularly difficult time outside of our normally scheduled meetings. Your advisory mastermind, I always recommend at least a quarterly check-in with your advisors to know where you're headed. And certainly if you're beginning your business or if you're going through a merger or you're going through a difficult time, then having them come more quickly and more often. And again, it's all reciprocity. If they're working on your business, make sure that you're doing something to reciprocate their time and energy, whether you're paying them like a board of directors or doing something to support them as well. And working in your business, sometimes you just have a weekly team meeting, and that mastermind is a weekly meeting, a check-in, so find out what's happening on all areas of your business. And then the personal is almost, we all go through times in our life when we might need more help than others. And that's when your personal mastermind shows up. I had a personal tragedy a couple of years ago, and I had girlfriends here every single day supporting me through it. And so it's all basically people that are invested in you. You want to check in with them on a monthly basis, and then when things happen, a friend of mine that's in one of my groups just had a double mastectomy, and so we've all signed up and taking her dinner every night to be there for her, to support her through a difficult time. And so it's very important that you think about what your needs are, but also how you can serve others within that group.
So beautiful, and I know that you speak very highly about one of the highest forms of mastermind is the male-female team of having a spouse together, and that you and your husband have that so beautifully. Not everybody has that, but how wonderful. So, Moni, why don't you go on the mastermind a little bit with Sharon?
Okay, well, I thought this was really, really important. I'm obviously really enjoyed the book, but just hearing you share in your own words, Sharon, it really, enhances, what we've all gotten to experience. And I love how you were able to answer, how often you meet with, your peer mastermind, your advisory, the mastermind in your business, and the personal mastermind. And that's something, as you were talking, I was thinking about how I can begin to have those more often. One thing I don't have is a personal mastermind, because my mind is always centered around, this is who I need in business and so on. But at home, I think that I feel the responsibility that, I need to handle certain things myself. And I think that we kind of forget sometimes the importance of having those personal masterminds and checking in and getting that you time, to be able to debrief and to exhale, with all of the day-to-day things that, I like the idea of the Sisterhood mastermind. I don't have one of those, but I will, because I've got, lots of friends, and I think that that's really, really important. That you shared that, because what that does is it goes to show you how important it is for us to have that balance, which we'll talk about here just a little bit in our business and in our personal lives as well. So you share, a lot of the unique differences between men and women in your book, and this is not necessarily about one being better than the other, but just different, that we do have different ways, of doing things. Our abilities to connect and process information, is different, and we sometimes see things in a different way. But I wanted you to see if you could share some of these differences and how they're beneficial for our financial well-being in terms of how we are as women.
Well, that's a great question, because it's very important. For instance, our brains operate differently. Women tend to use both sides of their brain. We tend to be bigger picture thinkers, and we problem solvers. So we basically go from the right and left brain, and a mind map of our brain shows us going back and forth all the time. Men, on the other hand, tend to be very linear thinkers. So a mind map of their brain is like up and down on one side all the time. Very little cross brain, but they're very strategic. They're very decisive. Typically, men are better map readers. I always have people disagree with me when I say that, but they are very linear thinkers, and they are very decisive. So, and I'm definitely not a woman's liber, but then thank you, my husband and I've been just celebrated 34 years of marriage.
Congratulations.
I love men, and I love working with men. And it's when you bring the brilliance of men and the brilliance of women together at the same time when you truly have exponential results. Warren Buffett last year said that the greatest economic factor of the future is women coming to the table. And I think that's so true, because we are bringing tremendous experience, passion, and women are better in a crisis than men. We tend to we usually stay in the background, but when there's a crisis, we stand up and take over and take care of people. We're very much, our empathy is higher than men. We, as I said, we're better collaborators. We see the big picture. We're better problem solvers. And so when we look at a world where business today, the successes are either going to solve a problem or serve a need. Women are great at identifying problems and needs and stepping in. 2 out of every 3 new businesses are started by women. And so we are starting to see that evolution come to play. And it's very exciting to me because women have a place at the table. And with the ability to have work a little bit more at your beck and call, not the strategic bricks and mortar, women have an opportunity to fulfill roles as mother and have more flexibility in their schedule and still own a business. And I think that's very important.
Wow.
Awesome. You want to add something to that, Robin?
Well, it's very helpful, I think, for people to really embrace, like you say so beautifully, Sharon, the gifts of both genders, and how when we come together we're so much more powerful, and that the women's gift of, I think it's called the corpus callosum, that, you know, ours is bigger, and so we have more going back and forth to connect the left and right brain. That's so beautiful. And you talk about passion, and I had a question because I've been immersed lately in Chris and Janet Atwood's work and their passion quest, and I know that's such a big part of success and goes back all the way. And so I personally want to know, Sharon, when did you first really feel this passion towards financial literacy? And I know especially you attend to children and to women. When did that first happen?
Well, passion, we all think of passion, do what you love what you do. Well, passion also comes from anger. And for me, when I grew up in a home where I learned a lot about money from my parents, and when I graduated from college, I had $22,000 to start my career and move into my first apartment with. So I was kind of inbred on entrepreneurship and how to manage my money. And so when my oldest son went off to college in 1992, I had taught him the things that I had been taught. And he was with me when I used my credit cards, but he wasn't with me when I paid them off every month. And he came home at holiday time, his freshman year, and in 3 months he had not only spent through $2,500 in the savings account that he wasn't supposed to know was there, he also had gotten credit card offers when he got to campus, and here, free pizza, free money, free t-shirt, free money, and he got himself $2,500 in a credit card debt. And that was December of 1992. And I was so angry. I was angry at him, but I was more angry with myself because I thought I had taught him about money. And yes, he'd had a really good time his first semester in college, but then the piper came to pay, and we wouldn't buy him out. We wouldn't give him the money. We wouldn't bail him out of his credit card debt. So it took him 7 years to pay down the cards and to restore his credit. But he's as passionate as I am now about teaching people about money. And it's really important. But that was December of 1992, and that's when I really dedicated the rest of my career to financial education. And it has been a 22-year endeavor. I was invited to the first President's Advisory Council for Financial Literacy appointed by President Bush, and we were able in 2009 to get a law passed that prevents credit card companies from soliciting kids on college campuses. So that was a huge accomplishment, and I can't take credit for the bill, but I can certainly take credit for being a squeaky wheel. But that still wasn't enough. And then last year in Arizona, I got a law passed that requires financial education for high school graduation here in Arizona. But I'm really excited to share with you that I literally just came home from Washington, D.C. yesterday. And on Tuesday, I met with several congressmen, and in January, we're going to put together a bill in the House of Representatives that will require financial education for any college student receiving federally backed student loans. Because student loans is the next greatest fear bubble that we have in America, $1.3 trillion in student loans. And we're giving them money without the education. And so that'll be the highlight of my career. We'll get that bill going in January, and I'm very excited about it. But my passion today is as strong as it was when I started in December of '92. And I focus on young people, families, women, and entrepreneurs, because I think entrepreneurship is what got us out of the Great Depression. Entrepreneurship is what's going to get our economy turned around today.
Wow.
We both said wow.
Well, I mean, when I listen to you, I just am so deeply moved because financial education is not something that we've learned, and so many have gotten in such deep, deep trouble, and it's created so much stress for families with all of the debt. And you know, the education debt is huge, and it starts so young. So, you know, where does I have another question, but Mani, you might want to comment before I jump into that next question.
No, go right ahead. I was just going to, say that I think that that's incredible. So I commend you for what you did in Arizona. I often talk about that, and I've made, an alternate decision here. I actually home educate one of my sons now, and but that's, the other two have already, well, one of them has already graduated and the other one is in college, but that's something that I have found so important to teach them things that I never learned in school. I didn't learn about financial wellness. I didn't learn how to invest, or about the importance of credit. And so that was something to me that was really important to teach my sons, because I'm like, you have to know how to live, not just how to basically just, memorize information and give it back. And so I think that that's really important that you did that. I used to work in Congress for doing other, not in Congress, but for a nonprofit, going back and forth and getting different laws passed. And so I know the importance of what happens when you do something as significant as that to change people's lives. And when I'm looking at this, I just see this as such an important step for our future, because there are so many people that do not have this information and that education. And so I just wanted to say that I commend you for that, and especially for what's going to be coming up here in January as far as that bill goes. That's something that's really hugely important because there are so many people, as we all know, that are still in debt from and still paying back their student loans. And so thank you so much for that.
Well, thank you. I'm really excited about it. We're going to be setting up something in the next week or so on my site so people can register to receive updates on what we're doing and how far it's going. So you'll be able to visit SharonLechter.com and sign up if you want to have more, be kept up to date with our goings on in Washington.
Nice.
I'm thrilled. This just I don't know, Sharon, you keep giving me chills down to my toes. It's so important because I'm one of those victims that didn't listen to my father, who said, make your money work, and shared some things, but I didn't listen very well. And so I created challenges like your son did, and it took me longer to dig out because it was a bigger hole. But it's put me on a path of how important the financial literacy is, in your whole series of Rich Dad, Poor Dad books of, and the cash flow game of, we're stuck in the rat race until our residual income is greater than our expenses. And you have another game, so I'd love to do a quick little diversion because the holidays are coming up, and I think this is one of the greatest gifts for young people. Would you share about that game?
Yes, it's called Thrive Time for Teens, and I came out with it just about 4 or 5 years ago, and we've had all kinds of awards, but the greatest award is when teenagers play it, because it really speaks to them where they are in life, and it was created with a lot of humor. The one thing that teens tend not to respond to well is lecture and boredom, and so it's very important that we create something that was fun, had some humor, and something that they could talk to each other about. And it really is a game that teaches young people that it's not just important how they spend their money, but equally as important how they spend their time. And so it's based on decisions, and they learn that they are the CEOs of their own life, that they're in the driver's seat, and the decisions that they make each and every day either drives them to success, to thriving, or dives them into debt. And at the end of the day, it's really quite simple for all of us. We're either a master of our money or a slave to it. There's not much in between. And unfortunately, we have way too many people that are slaves to their money. And that's my whole goal, is to give people the tools that they can empower themselves, educate themselves, how to gain control, because it's not what you do for your paycheck. It's what you do with your paycheck that's so very important. And each and every one of us can say, okay, I'm kind of messed up this month or last month, or messed up for the last couple of years. It's time for me to wake up, take accountability, take control, and start making different decisions on how I'm spending my money. And that's the day that your life will turn around and you will become a master of your money instead of slave to it.
Love it. Love it, love it, love it. Thank you. Yeah, yeah, I'm writing down your quotables. You've got some really good ones. So Sharon, I mean, you're already a very successful woman, right? I mean, we all know and respect that. But in what ways did the project of Think and Grow Rich for Women impact you personally? Did any of the women personally impact your life?
Well, absolutely. I mean, as I said, I highlight over 300 women, not all of them that I have the opportunity to interview. Some of them are no longer with us, but it's really important. When I started working on the book, I realized how difficult it was to find quotes. And you referenced a couple times the Sisterhood Mastermind. The format of the book, it was very important to me. And so the book, Think and Grow Rich for Women, follows the same chapter outline of the original Think and Grow Rich. And so each chapter starts off with a synopsis of Hill's original philosophy. And then I look at that philosophy, whether it be passion, applied faith, whether it be definite purpose, understanding persistence, perseverance. Each chapter, I look at those individual steps through the eyes of successful women who utilize that principle in creating their own success. And then I talk about how I applied that particular principle in my own career. Then I wind out each chapter with what I call the Sisterhood Mastermind. And that is a group of women from history, women today, women from education, from corporate America, women entrepreneurs. Their thoughts, their quotes related to that principle. And it was really difficult to find quotes. I had to literally go into speeches, into videos, and find, like you were just saying, writing down something I said. I had to do that to get the quotes I needed to really fill out the book. But I thought it was important that because it was hard to find quotes, it showed me how important it is to start celebrating other women and their guidance and their wisdom by sharing those quotes and asking other women to pick it up and share their quotes with their network so that we can start elevating women's wisdom, because it's so important that we support each other and not become competitive. When I started my career back in the mid-70s, women weren't very helpful to other women. And once you've created a level of success, many women thought it was a sign of weakness if they helped other women. So we weren't very good. And that's starting to change. There are still women out there that aren't the greatest mentors for other women, but many, many of them are. And they're happy to start mentoring and supporting younger women along the way. And that's really the effort. For instance, when Sheryl Sandberg's book Lean In came out, it was while I was working on Think and Grow Rich for Women. And again, it was proof positive. Instead of celebrating her sharing her success, she was pummeled by many other women, saying easy for her to say she can get help, she can afford help, she doesn't really know what it's like for us poor women. And it's like, wait a minute, she became a great success. She's sharing her story. You may find something in her story that's helpful to you or not, but at least she's sharing it to help other women. And so let's celebrate her pathway to success was right for her. It may not be right for me, might not be right for you. But that's the whole beauty behind Think and Grow Rich for Women. You may read one story that doesn't relate to you at all, but the next one, it could be your story, and you see yourself in it. And that was my purpose and my intent, to celebrate all women and celebrate each of us finding our own path. Again, standing in your own power in who you are, authentic to who you are, and you finding your success and your significance the way you desire and the way you deserve.
Robin?
Oh. Oh my goodness. When I listen to that, and I'm thinking about, okay, what can I do? And realizing that you had to search so hard, Sharon, to find all those things that we as women today can just be aware, like you say, celebrate and be open and listen to what's out there and quote those quotes and capture those and share them with each other. So I just put myself on a new practice because of you to really collect those and quote those. And I'm privileged to have so many wonderful people in my life, so many women. We've got this program called Wise Women Weekly, and once in a while we have a wise guy, but there's such great wisdom that we are excited to share from the women out there in the world. And I'm just so grateful for you being so generous and available and open to share yours with all of us, because it's making a huge contribution to to the world, to hear the wisdom from you and from your learnings. And you read Think and Grow Rich when you were, I think it was 19, and it became part of you all these years. So getting back to what can we do as women, because you mentioned earlier so many different roles and responsibilities, and we can be so overwhelmed. How do we, embrace all of this and maintain a sense of balance and have that success and significance, and also have what's really important, having your family and home life being balanced? What do you suggest? Because where do we start? Because it can be so overwhelming.
Well, thank you for that question, because you just hit on the second. Remember, I said there were two main reasons I wrote this book. One was to change the dialogue from negative to positive. The second one was to get rid of this myth of work-life balance. I often say my next book is going to be Balance BS, and I don't say bad words, so the BS means before Sharon. But balance is an unattainable goal. The word balance means you're not moving. Do you know any women anywhere who are not moving? We're constantly juggling things in our lives. And so the last chapter of Think and Grow Rich for Women is not in the original Think and Grow Rich book, and it's called One Big Life. And I wrote it specifically for women, saying what happens is we try to strive for this work-life balance, and we get frustrated, we feel guilt, and we feel shame, and we feel blame, and it's stupid. It's stupid. The word worry, a few years ago, worry, the definition came across, it says to pray for what you do not want. And I happen to be a champion worrier, and it really helped me, because now when I catch myself in one of my little worry storms, I go, wait, to worry is to pray for what you do not want. And it allows me to stop and focus and say, okay, instead of focusing on what I don't want to have happen, I'm going to reframe my thoughts and focus on what I do want to have happen. And it's really helped me. So I invite you, the next time you catch yourself in a worry storm, stop and tell yourself, okay, stop focusing on what I don't want to have happen, and let's focus on what I do want to have happen. And so when it comes to work-life balance, we all have one big life. We have 24 hours in the day. When you're worried about work-life balance, you're worried about what happened yesterday. You're using precious time today worrying about something that happened. You can't change it. It happened. And so every morning when you get out of bed, you say, I got 24 hours today to be a mother, a wife, a businesswoman, a philanthropic, and to take care of myself. And if I'm not happy with what I did yesterday, maybe I spent too much time at the office and not enough time with my kids, go, whoa, today I'm going to change it, and I'm going to spend more time with my kids. Each and every day we have a choice. We have one big life. And you are the definition of all of those things together. And so you are a businesswoman, you are a mother, you are a wife, you are a girlfriend, you are a daughter, all of those things. We want to be the best we can in all of those facets. But stop trying to achieve this work-life balance, because your work is your life. Your life is your work. It's all part of it. And so all of those things come together to define who you are. So the goal should not be work-life balance. The goal should be, I want one big life. And that was the second reason I wrote the book.
Wow.
There are so many women right now that are going, you mean I'm okay?
And it doesn't matter where they live or what language they speak. Women around the globe are striving for this crazy thing called work-life balance. And I tell them the only place the word balance should be used, yoga. That's it.
Love it. And BS has a whole new meaning in my life now. And and I want to thank you for that. And I want to just highlight a few things you said, because when I was reading the book, I put a big highlighter, the worry about, praying for what you don't want. And I was thinking about that with myself and other people I know, and I'm going, and then you said catching yourself off track, and there's this wonderful quote from Buddha. He said, enlightenment is catching ourselves off track quicker than before. And so all those are so valuable, and that's really, it's like this process of catch, and then make the shift and realize balance is not what we're going for. And the final thing I wanted to comment on is that you mentioned about really embracing in the 24-hour period these different goals we have. And how can we do something of value in each one of those goals? And that's truly one of the things I'm privileged to work with Covey. And when he identified time management, that you can't manage time, you can manage a relationship around time, and the best way to achieve a life of fulfillment is to identify what's important and make sure that we schedule things in our daily and weekly schedule that address those different roles and what's important. So just affirming so many things that are so valuable that have made such a huge difference, and now it's time to practice more. So, Mani, I know you've got another wonderful question for Sharon. We've got a
yes, yes. We just have a few left. Yes. Okay. This is my question to you, Sharon. In what ways did mentorship shape you into the woman that you are today, and how important was that?
Well, I think mentorship is so important in all facets of your life. Certainly, I had a wonderful mentor in my father growing up. He taught me the power of entrepreneurship, and I didn't even realize it until I was much older. But I think mentorship, somebody who's going to be a guiding light for you to take you to where you want to go. Mentorship in all aspects of your life. I have mentors that are my girlfriend, and I'm their mentor, and they're my mentor, because we are there to hold each other accountable and keep going forward. And so mentorship is very important. And again, it's not one of those, some of us say, I have a mentor, and it's this person. And maybe that mentor is somebody that helps them in their business. But I think we all have a lot of mentors. And some mentors are not alive. Sometimes there's somebody like Napolean Hill that's one of my mentors. And so I counsel from the wisdom of people that have been where I want to go. And I think it's important that each of us understand that. I mean, those of us that are religious, Jesus Christ or God is a mentor to us. We want to live in that likeness. So it's very important that we not channel ourselves. I think we have to have one mentor. Who is it that you emulate? Who is it that you want to follow in their path and be successful like they are? And again, I want to go back to something that Robin said, because time is the only limited resource we have. We can lose money and get it back. Okay, we can lose a business and start a new one. But once you lose time, you don't get it back. And so it's very important that we understand that how we spend our time is equally as important. And women tend to want to do everything. We're nurturers, but we don't tend to delegate very well. And so one of the first things I talk to women is, instead of your to-do list, we all have our to-do list, is start writing a stop doing list. Right before I got on this interview, I handed my assistant a list to go shopping for me for my Thanksgiving meal, because I don't know when I'm going to do it. And so it's something that I enjoy doing, but it's like, okay, would I rather go shopping, or would I rather be with my family preparing the meal together? So each of us needs to focus on our limited resource time and make sure that we are applying our time in the areas that are most important to us.
Awesome. Robin, you have anything to add to that?
Oh, I love the way you expanded the perspective of mentors, and the original Think and Grow Rich and Napoleon Hill's mastermind of who we tapped into. And Sharon, I don't think I shared this with you, but 30 years ago, I was in a breakfast group that met every week, and this is the book we studied.
The Law of Success. Yep, great.
And we did this every week for years. And so Napoleon Hill has been deep in my heart through his, collection of wisdom from so many masters for many years. So I'm just so thrilled that you've taken it a whole nother level to make it current over time and have us realize the importance of, accessing mentorship for ourselves and providing that with others and having it with our friends and having that mastermind together. So there's
to that point, I wanted to tell you that our we haven't quite launched it yet, but it is available. Think and Grow Rich for Women. I've had so much requests for coaching, or what I did was I created something called the Diamond Book Salon, and it's a completely online delivery. But it's for women who get together or on your own. You can go through it. Each chapter, I take a deeper dive. I do interviews with women. We have additional handouts. So it can be used as your own coaching program to use the basis of Think and Grow Rich for Women and go further into it with a group of women or even on your own. And it's available on my website, SharonLechter.com. So it's called the Diamond Book Salon.
Well, thank you for that. On that website, you are so incredibly generous. There's so many resources. So I want to make sure everyone knows about SharonLechter.com and to open up the tremendous treasure chest that's available. And that program sounds like I'm in. I mean, I'm excited to jump into that one. But, a final, no, I don't want to say quite final, but, what's next? Sharon, what you shared what you're excited about, your passion. What's your next project?
Well, certainly this bill in Congress has come forefront and is the #1 project on my desk right now to get this bill into Congress and get it passed so that we can make a national impact on helping young people understand finances before they mortgage their future through these huge student loans. And so that's huge, big impact. But I've been working on it for several years, and hopefully my intent is to get this done in 2015, is Think and Grow Rich for the next generation. And again, it's a very important project and one that I want to give my full attention to and make sure that it's a true testament to the original Think and Grow Rich, but written through the eyes of young people for other young people, so that it's something that will instantly be applicable in their lives. So that's another book that I'm working on. And then I'm also starting a new book with Greg Reed, and I did 3 Feet from Gold, and so we're coming back together to do a book, Think and Grow Rich, The Magic Key, where we're going to be interviewing some of the biggest people around the world who had an idea, had the vision, created a plan, and made it come into reality, founders and CEOs of their company. And so I'm very excited about that.
Wow. And that's what happens with your passion. There's abundant energy to, and such great vision. Monty, you want to ask any questions before we do a close here?
Well, I think we got the vision for the future. That was going to be the next question. We definitely got that. That's so important. I got really excited to hear about Think and Grow Rich for the next generation. Being the mom of 3 boys and an auntie to a little girl and 2 nephews and many other of their friends. That's something I cannot wait to share with them, because the Think and Grow Rich is something that my teenage sons have read and enjoy, and that's one of those books that they read again and again and take notes on. And it's not one of those one-time reads, just like I hear with Think and Grow Rich for Women. And so I just want to thank you again, Sharon, for being here first and foremost, and sharing openly with us, and just being a huge impact on all of us. I can tell you, this is one of the highlights of my life. I would put it on my Facebook page saying, OMG, I'm so excited. I cannot believe I get to meet Sharon. And so much so that I literally cleared the house. Nobody's here. Nobody can open a refrigerator, tiptoe around. This was that important. And so they're all excited and can't wait to watch the replay after to get to hear from you, because they love your work. So thank you again.
Well, thank you. Don't forget to tag me.
Okay.
Tag me on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn. Everybody come Sharon Lechter. It's really easy to find me.
Well, that's actually just what I was going to say, Sharon, because on your Facebook page, you're going for a big number, and once that number gets hit, you have wonderful gifts to offer. So what else can people do other than the tagging to really access what you're up to through your website, any programs or teleclasses or webinars? Do you have anything else, and how else can we get the good word out of your wonderful work?
Well, please share your thoughts about Think and Grow Rich for Women and promote it to your groups and let people know how important it is for women to help other women. Certainly a lot of the money that goes from the sale of the book goes to support the Napoleon Hill Foundation and its work to support people internationally. And then the other thing that I just did for the college curriculum, so any of your viewers that are participating in colleges that would like to help support getting financial education into that university, we love that support. We're just starting to promote that. It's called Master Your Life, Master Your Money. And so it's very important that we come together and work towards the same common goal. And I appreciate your support in letting people know about the Diamond book salon, as well as supporting the bill, because that's something that is hugely important, that we start making sure young people have the education that they need to not just survive but to thrive in their life. And I do invite everybody to www.sharonlechter.com, and it's LECHTER.com, Sharon, and we have a lot of free resources there. 30 ways to start talking to your kids about money, 30 ways to save money. There's an ebook there, so please come to the website and register and help us move forward in supporting others seeking to have a better financial life. And thank you, ladies, for this interview.
Absolutely. It's definitely our pleasure. And Robin, do you have any parting words before we close it out?
Well, once again, I just want to say thank you for all of you that have joined us. And as Sharon said, the gift of this is to embody it, to model it, to share it, to mentor others with it, to tap into the resources. Get the book, give the book as a gift. Powerful. That any time of year is a powerful time. Go on to Amazon and make comments about the book. Just bring awareness to this really, really important aspect for our planet, because it is time for women to be empowered and to really tap into what we have to contribute, because we're all here together on this planet, and the statistics are there, the research is there, that we as women need to improve our financial literacy and make a huge contribution for everyone. So Sharon, I am deeply grateful that you took the time to be with us. We will get the word out, and thank you for this huge contribution that you're constantly making for all of us. Much appreciated.
Well, thank you.
Well, thank you again, everyone, for tuning into this edition of Wise Women Weekly. It was truly a treat, and more importantly, an honor for us to have Sharon Lechter here on this platform. And we hope that all of you enjoyed it as much as we did. And share away. Let everyone know, whether you're in networking, whether you're in traditional business, or whether you're just a person or an individual that's seeking to enhance your life. Be sure to share this interview. Get the book, like Robin said. Go to SharonLechter.com. Get some of those free resources, spread the word, because this is something, as she talks so importantly about the power of collaboration, we all need to rally around and make sure that we celebrate, encourage, and spread the word about this important work. So thank you again, everyone. We will see you next same time and same place. Take care, everyone. Thanks again. Bye-bye.